In today's lesson, we are going to discuss about SPM past year question. Let's go. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss about SPM 2018 Science Paper 1 questions. For this video, we are only going to discuss the first 25 to 26 questions that would be the Form 4 part of SPM questions. So while we are doing this past year questions, we are also going to do some quick revision about your Form 4 syllabus. Let's go. Question 1. What is reflex action? Alright, this is a very typical question. We will start with chapter 2. So reflex action is the automatic response you give when you face with danger. So obviously the answer would be A. So it is the response towards stimuli without you thinking. This is to save you from danger. Of course, B, without looking, that wouldn't be so accurate. C, controlled by cerebellum. Cerebellum is the behind brain. So this would control balance, not reflex action. And then cerebellum would control our voluntary action. That would be something we can control. Moving on, question 2. So this pointing here, P, would be our medulla oblongata. So medulla oblongata would control our involuntary action. So there's only one involuntary action here. I would say that's your heartbeat. How about this knee-jerk reaction, sir? Knee-jerk reaction is also involuntary, but this is your reflex action. Reflex action is mostly controlled by the lower part, which we call it spinal cord. Your cerebellum would be here, controlling your voluntary action, and your cerebellum here would control your coordination and balance. Moving on, question 3. X, this one would be your adrenal gland. Just for a quick revision, your adrenal gland will secrete your adrenaline. This thing will make your heartbeat increase, your breathing rate increase, basically to help you escape from danger. That gives you the fight or flight response. Moving on, question 4. The following information shows the effect of a type of drug. Delayed reaction towards stimuli, decreased stress, help people to stay calm. This is the drug that slows you down. What is the drug that slows you down? That would be our depressant. For example, your alcohol. This is the first example. And of course, your barbiturate. That would be your sleeping pill. Narcotics, I would like to call this stimulant. This is the thing that makes you awake, like cocaine, like methamphetamine. And inhalant are those things that you inhale into your nose. For example, glue and so on. And hallucinogens are the things that makes you hallucinate. For example, marijuana, or we call it weed, and of course LSD. Okay, LSD is a drug very common among musicians back in the 1980s. Next, question 5. What is the external factor that influences the mind? I can only see one here. That would be family problem, drug intake, brain damage, hormonal imbalance. That would be internal factors. Moving on, question 6. This would be our chapter 3, inheritance. Diagram 3 shows a cross between two plants, a purple flower and a yellow flower. When you see questions like this, please, the first thing you need to do is to identify what's the dominant gene and recessive gene. Dominant being the winning gene, recessive being the losing gene. So if you see here, if F represents a dominant gene of purple flower, so it says here purple, or big F would be the dominant one, and then small f is the recessive or the yellow flower. What is the genotype of the parent? So genotype would be what is the alphabet represented by the parent. So the easy one, we would look at the yellow ones. Okay, yellow, we would know this is two small f's. Yellow flower means they are recessive, means they have two recessive genes. But the trouble comes in the purple flower. Purple flower, it could be two big f's or one big and one small. The first one what we call homozygous dominant, and the second one is what we call heterozygous dominant. What does it mean? Hetero means they are two different. Yes, they might look different in genotype, but they produce the same phenotype, which means they have the same purple flower. Before that, let us eliminate impossible answers. That would be our A and D. Why are these impossible? Because as you can see here, that would be wrong. That would be yellow flower for the first one, and these two, they would produce purple flower in the parents. So these both answers are wrong. So which one would be the correct one? We have to look at the offspring. If you look at the offsprings here, they produce half purple and half yellow. You can do this by trying the answers one by one, or if you have done these questions for very long, you know that this is the answer, because if you cross these two together, you would produce two purple flowers, and of course you would produce two yellow flowers. So that would be our answer, C. Let's move on. Question 7. Which of the following is correct about non-identical twin? Non-identical twin, or what we call fraternal twins, means they grow in two different placenta and two different amnion. So what is correct? They have the same appearance? Of course not. This is for identical twin. Different genetic information, I believe this would be the answer. Same gender, not necessarily. They could be the same gender, but this is mostly for identical twin. Share a placenta, also for identical twin, so the answer, very straightforward, would be B. Question 8. Which inherited disease is related to chromosome mutation? Chromosome mutation is when you have one chromosome deleted, a whole chromosome deleted, or you have one chromosome extra. Usually this would mean a very serious inherited problem, unlike gene mutation, which would be kind of mild, for example, color blindness or hemophilia, which the blood fails to clot in time. So the answer here, hemophilia, would be wrong, color blindness would be wrong. Albinism is when you fail to produce the dark pigment in your skin known as melanin. This is wrong as well. So I have only one serious problem here, which would be Down syndrome, or we call it trisomy 21, because you have 3 chromosomes on the 21st pair. Moving on. Question 9 shows a type of variation. When you see they can be separated into 4 clear distinct classes, we know this is discontinuous. So the continuous one, you would see a graph that looks like a bell. So that is not it. What is discontinuous? Means you can separate them into classes. So what is another type of same variation here? Skin color, no, because you have different tones of skin color, that will be continuous. Cleverness, that would be our IQ, similar to skin color. Fingerprint, I believe this will be the answer. Height, of course, is also continuous because you have a lot of height classes. You cannot just separate them into 4 classes. So my answer would be C. Next, question 10. This would be a chemistry question. Moving on into chapter 4. The following information shows the characteristic of a subatomic particle. When you see it is positively charged, you know for sure this is a proton. Electron would be negative charge. Neutron would be neutral. Nucleon, this is not even an answer. Nucleon is basically proton plus neutron. Very simple question right here. Next, let's look at question 11. Which substance ABCD consists of an ion? When you see ion, means you have charges being positive and negative. I can only see one positive, negative here. That would be answer C. Question 12. Diagram 5 shows an experiment to study the electrical conductivity of 2 substances. As you can see here, substance X makes the bulb light up, and substance Y, it doesn't light up the bulb. Obviously, we know that substance X is a conductor, and substance Y would be an insulator. Let's eliminate the impossible answers first. I think the answer here is pretty clear. As you can see, X, B and D is definitely out because they are insulators. We have A and C remaining here. As for substance Y, we have only answer C here remaining as our insulator. That would be C. Next, let's go into question 13. A student is provided with a glass of sugarcane juice and is asked to produce sugar in a solid form. What is the process that needs to be carried out by the student? Here we are looking at extraction methods. So to extract something, we have three methods, one being filtration, one being crystallization, I'm going to just write the short form here, and the third being distillation. So what is the difference? Filtration is when you want to separate insoluble solid from something, for example sand. Crystallization is when you want to separate a soluble substance in a liquid, for example salt and sugar. I believe I just told the answer here. Distillation is when I want to separate one liquid from a solid, for example salt. Distillation is very similar to crystallization. Distillation is more pure. So the answer here would be crystallization. Question 14. Which statement describes a chemical change? Chemical change is something like combustion. So combustion is burning. This would make the question much clearer. So combustion, does it produce a new substance? I believe yes, because when you burn a paper, it turns into carbon, or carbon dioxide, or water. For B, is it reversible? I believe not. You cannot unburn a paper. For C, is it only physical change? Of course, this is chemical change. That would be wrong as well. Less energy is needed. Combustion, you need fire, which is a lot of energy. So there's only one answer here. That would be A. Next, question 15. Which metal reacts with water? Basically, which is the most reactive metal here? The answer should be pretty clear. That would be your sodium. As you know, when you throw sodium in water, you get a very vigorous, fiery reaction. Moving on, question 16. Diagram 6 shows an apparatus set up for a plating process conducted by a student. Before I move on here, there are two processes I want you to take note. That would be electroplating and of course extraction, or purification in this case. To electroplate something, you need to put the thing being electroplated on the negative side. To extract something, to purify something, to get pure metal out of something, you have to put that thing that you try to extract on the positive side. I believe this is pretty clear. If you look at the battery here, positive is over here, negative is over here. So the ring here would be positive, the argentum here would be negative. So I believe you know what is wrong here, because the battery is being put in reverse. All the metal, you should reverse them before you can see any change. So what causes the plating process to fail? Electrolyte consisting of argentum ion? No, in fact the solution is correct. Argentum cannot be used as the plate? No, you can use argentum, that's not the problem. Battery terminal is mounted wrongly. I believe that will be the answer. Iron ring is corroded. No, that is not the answer. So the answer would be C. Moving on, question 17 shows a simple cell. To make a cell, if you put two non-metal or you put two of the same metal, nothing is going to happen. If you look at the answer, zinc and lead, I believe this is the answer, because zinc and lead, they are metals and they are two different metals. For B, sulfur and copper, sulfur is not a metal. That would be wrong. C, same case, phosphorus is not a metal. D, aluminium and aluminium, they have the same reactivity. You will not get any voltage here. So there's only one answer here. That would be A. Just a quick revision. How do you make the voltage higher? The further they are away from each other in the ECS, if you still remember the reactivity series, the higher voltage they are going to produce. Question 18. This would be our nuclear chapter. I would say this is the easiest chapter to score. Quick revision. Paper can stop alpha particle. Aluminium will stop beta particle. And lead will stop gamma particle, gamma being the strongest, alpha being a positive one, beta being a negative one. Gamma is just a neutral radiation. So we know that ray Z here is definitely a gamma ray. So what is the characteristic of a gamma ray? It has no charge. Yes, this is correct. Has high ionizing power. Ionizing power is the ability to make your surrounding to become charged. Who has the highest ionizing power? That would be our alpha particle. For C, deflected by electrical field, this is only for alpha and beta, because alpha being positive will be attracted to the negative plate, beta being negative will be attracted to the positive plate. Gamma being neutral will not be affected at all. For D, is it low velocity? No. Gamma in fact is the fastest radiation, slowest being alpha. So I believe the answer is clearly A. Moving on, question 19. This is a nuclear fission. This is what takes place in a nuclear reactor. Why here? As you know, this is a nuclear energy. Please do not say this is an electrical energy. Why? Because we use nuclear energy to change this into heat energy, and when heat energy turns the turbine, we will get electrical energy. Moving on. Question 20. This is a lorry skidded on a road. If you are passing through the road, what is the best step you should do? If you ask me, this is a very funny question, because keeping a distance from the accident area, yes, this is correct. Viral through social media, I would say this is neutral. Approach the accident area, I wouldn't say so. Help clean up the spill, I don't believe you have the ability to clean a spill. Therefore, I think the most suitable answer would be A. But this is a very funny question, because even B or D, it looks, they are not entirely wrong. But anyhow, A would be the most suitable answer. Moving on, question 21. Which phenomenon involves light scattering? This would be our light chapter, the chapter that most of you are most scared of. Alright, what is light scattering, by the way? Light scattering is when you have a color of light that goes everywhere, making something a color. For example, the sky. Why is the sky blue? Because you have blue colors scattered everywhere, that's why it looks blue. Is A the answer? This is actually reflection, because scattering is making the sky blue, not the sea. The sea is just reflecting the color of the sky. That's a very tricky answer there. Rainbow formation, this is not light scattering, this is light dispersion. Dispersion is when I split white color into 7 colors. Can you see they are very uniformly dispersed? But scattering is when they run everywhere, making something a color. Dark sky before the rain? No, this is not. Sky looks red during sunset. Yes, this would be our answer. Because you have red or yellow going everywhere, that's why during sunset your sky kind of looks a bit red or yellow. Depends on the case. Question 22. Subtraction of color. This is the one that you are scared the most. Quick way to help you all memorize. You have 3 basic colors, which are R, G, B, and you have 3 secondary color. That would be our cyan, magenta, yellow. This is my way of memorizing, would be GCB, Mary Brown, GYR. You know GCB, the McDonald's chicken burger. If you eat GCB in Mary Brown, it makes you gayer. Yes, I know it sounds funny, but that's my way of memorizing. Alright, gayer, yes, it makes me more gay. How do you use this? When you have green and blue, you get cyan. When you have red and blue, you get magenta. When you have green and red, you get yellow. So when you have a magenta filter here, they will let magenta to go through, and of course red and blue. Therefore, the answer here would be magenta, red and blue. Okay, question 23 is the tricky one, because if you see, the singer is wearing a blue dress, a yellow light is emitted to her. When you see secondary color, please split them into primary color first. This would make your problem so much easier to solve. If you look at yellow, according to our gayer, we know that yellow is made from green and red, so we should write here green and red. The singer is now wearing a blue dress. Blue being a primary color, we don't have to split them. What makes a dress blue? I will put an except here. They will absorb all color except blue. Is there any blue light in our light? No. So the dress would absorb green. The dress would absorb red. Is the dress reflecting any color to your eyes? No. When it's not reflecting anything, you would see black. Question 24. Why does a chameleon change its skin color? This obviously is for camouflage. Warning signs are mostly for bees or wasps. Attract attention, I can think of is peacock. Regulate body temperature, not sure what is this. Question 25, an aircraft can carry many passengers at one time. For the safety, the body needs to be built with strong materials. Steel is an alloy which is very strong, widely used to build the frame of vehicles. Why steel cannot be used to build the body of an aircraft? By the way, before I move on, what is an alloy? Alloy is when you have two or more types of metals mixing together to make them stronger and more resistant to corrosion. Why are we not using steel for airplanes? Because steel is too heavy. Therefore, the answer would be large mass. So what are we using for our aircraft? We use duralumin. Kindly put more attention in these few alloy. Number 1 being bronze, number 2 being brass, and of course duralumin, and of course steel. These are the few most common asked alloy in your exam. Do you need to memorize what is inside them? Yes, you roughly need to know them, but please don't memorize the percentage. 26. The following word equation shows a chemical reaction. Ammonia, and you get ammonia nitrate. What is ammonia? Ammonia, the thing that you can find in your urine that makes your pee stink. So what is R here? Of course, we need to add an acid with a nitrate behind. That would be our nitric acid. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next part, which we will discuss the remaining questions. That would be our Form 5 syllabus. If you have any comment or any request, kindly leave it down in the comments below. And if you like this video, remember to like this video, share and subscribe. I will see you again in the next video. So